Hello everybody, welcome along. Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Edge. Welcome back, part 71 now. We're looking at packs 117 and 118 of this beautiful DeAgostini Mustang Shelby GT500 from 1967. And a beauty she is. So as usual, we will look first of all at the magazine. And here you've got all your contacts. If you want to find out more about this model, have a look under the in the description below the video. And there's a link you can click on where you can go and see and find out more about it. Carroll Shelby, Formula One driver. Carroll Shelby's Formula One career was to be short-lived, but it lasted long enough to prove that he was more than capable of competing with the best. His dream of driving in Formula One became a reality in 1958. This picture shows him in Oporto for the Portuguese Grand Prix, where he drove a Maserati 250F for the Temple Blue Owl team and finished in 9th place. And there we go. And there he is. Carroll in action during the 1959 Grand Prix in an Aston Martin. So in here we're going to be looking at the trunk lid seal and hinges. So we're going to be getting the body out, looks like. And this is why I said in part 69 about not fitting the front, because you can imagine you'll have that huge front end hanging off the body, just held on with 4 little screws. I don't fancy that. So I haven't fitted mine yet. So yeah, we're going to be fitting the trunk. So the US Vespa phenomenon. Well, in the past it used to be considered a European eccentricity. Today, many Americans consider the Vespa cool. Its design and functional character have made this famous Italian scooter a fashionable means of transport in US cities. Wow. I wonder if they like the Lambretta as well. I love them. I used to have a Lambretta when I was a little one for going around the fields. So there we go. And then here at Pikes Peak. Wow. Yes, Pikes Peak. What an event that is. June 30th, 2013, 9 times world champion Sebastian Loeb crossed the finish line in the then record time of 8 minutes 13.878 seconds at the wheel of a highly modified Peugeot 208. Yeah, that's not a Peugeot 208. That's a racing car. And there we go. Rhys Millen, son of multiple 1990s winner Rod Millen, is one of the stars of Pikes Peak. He held the course speed record of 9 minutes 46 until Sebastian Loeb shattered it with a time of 8 minutes at 13.878. There we go. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Fantastic race. Is worth looking up if ever you have the chance to look it up on YouTube or something. It's fantastic. Okay, so we've got pack 117, which is in a plastic bag in here. So we'll get this bag open and we'll see what's in here. So we've got our trunk seal itself. We've got the hinges in this nice little blister pack. Keep them protected, they're metal, so that's nice. So that can go in the recycling. And then we've got these hinge plates, hinge retainer plates. So get those there. And then we've got a little bag of DSO2 screws. This whole thing's made of bloody DSO2 screws. There's more DSO2 screws in this than there are parts, I think. Right, so we will get our hinges, 2 brackets, some screws and our thing there. Right, so first thing we've got to do is remove the sprue gate from here. So we're going to get some nice little cutters. These are for modelling. These are the Tamiya type. And we're going to cut it off and leave this little lug on here. You can see we've got these little lugs here. We're going to leave that little lug on there. And then this one here we will cut off flush, just like that. So that's a nice tidy job. Okay, put those to one side. So then we're going to take our trunk lid and place the trunk lid seal on the trunk lid in a reinforcement 116A. Fit it following the shape as shown in the picture. Now place the trunk lid hinge. So we're going to actually, I'm assuming this is going to clip into position, is it? So we're going to grab our trunk lid and the cloth so we don't scratch any paintwork. So this, I'm assuming, is going to clip under here. So we've got 3 little slots in there. Okay. And then we've got 3 holes here along the back. It's going to clip into. It's not a very positive fit. I wonder if it's actually going to stay in there. We'll see. If not, we'll have to put a little drop of super glue on those little location lugs. But there we go. That's in like that. Okay. Now place the left trunk lid hinge 117B. So these will be marked left and right, I'm sure. There we go, left here. Okay, left trunk lid hinge marked with an L into the rectangular recess of the trunk lid inner reinforcement as shown. Fix the hinge in place with 2 DSO2 screws. So this is going to go here, so this is left, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, and that is going to help to hold down the inner cover, the inner frame of the trunk lid. Now I haven't tapped the threads in here because I've noticed these holes are quite large with respect to others. So it's going to be easy to pull the thread if I tap a thread in it. So I'm just putting these screws in blind without cutting any threads. I'll make sure those are nice and snug. There we go. And then we're going to do the same with the right hinge. So that's going to go in like that. So we'll grab a screw and put it in there. And then we'll grab another screw. Get that pulled down like that. There we go. There we are. So that's our hinges in place. There's a little bit of adjustment in them should you need it. Okay, and then we are going to retrieve the bodywork and insert the ends of the arms of the hinges into the bodywork as shown in the picture. And then we are going to fit these hinge retainer plates. Note that both plates have a hole into which fits a pin on the bodywork, and this determines the mounting direction of each plate. Add the plates and secure each one with a DSO2 screw. So we are now going to put this trunk lid to one side, and we're going to get our tiny little body, which is here, which is absolutely tiny as you can see, and I'm going to place this down on the bench here, and then I'm going to get my trunk lid, and I'm going to pass this, in fact I'm going to move this cloth, move it all over a bit. There we go. Right, so make sure the trunk doesn't get scratched, and then I'm going to lift this up. There we go. The edge of the body was jammed on the. How are you supposed to get this to go in? This is bloody awkward. How's it even going to open? Have a look at this again a second, hang on. Well, I'll tell you what guys, I cannot get that to fit in there. If I try and have it open, it's no good. If I try and close it, I can't get it in. I don't want to force anything because I don't want to scratch any paint. So what I'm going to do is get off, undo these screws so that the hinges can move a bit. That might help. I may end up taking the hinges completely off. What I really don't want to do is scratch any of this lovely paintwork. So maybe this will help. There you go. Look how easy that was. So what we're going to do now is put the body down, keep it held down so it's holding the trunk in place, and then we'll retighten these screws. Let me know if you get the same problem with yours. I'm really glad I didn't tap those threads now because we probably definitely would have stripped them putting the screws in twice. So that's all good. Okay, so there's an extra little tip for you there. And then we're going to fit these hinge plates. So these are going to go in, there's 2 holes, one for the screw, one for this pin. So that's going to drop in there like that. And then that one's going to drop in there like that. And again, I haven't cut any threads. So my advice to you would be, when you fit the hinges, just put the screws in a couple of turns and then tighten them after it's fitted, rather than, you know, try and fit it like I did and then find you've got to undo the screws again, because every time you undo those screws and do them back up, you run the risk of stripping the threads. Okay, so there's our trunk lid in position. Okay, let's see what it looks like. There it is. Looks like a very nice fit. Shame you can't open it. Maybe I've done those plates too tight. Oh, this is a bit of a circus, isn't it, this little lot? Right, so I'm going to slacken these screws off a bit. Was it the old people used to say? It's like bloody Fred Carno's around here. Fred Carno's circus. I think that's what they used to say. Yeah, you need to be careful, because that trunk lid is rubbing on there. It's going to scratch that paint as it opens. Yeah, unfortunately this is not well designed at all. Yeah, if it's going to scratch that paint. So I think maybe what we'll do is, once again, we will slacken these screws, which I really don't want to be doing. And that may make things a bit easier. Oh dear, DeAgostini, you haven't made the hinges long enough, have you? Yeah, you see it's scratching that already. I'm not going to bother with it. It's we won't be having an opening trunk lid on this model, I can assure you. I'm also not happy about the fit over there. I'm just wondering, maybe if I slacken those screws on the hinge plates a bit more, perhaps. I mean, they're just going to fall out because they're not at all tight. No, they're going to have to do a mod. They're going to have to send us some more hinges or something. I don't think this is right. That's definitely not right. You can't open the boot. They need hinges with more of a crank in them, so that as you open it, it sort of comes back and up rather than just up. Yes. I think what I'm going to do is tighten everything down again so that you physically cannot open it, because I'm just praying we don't need to open it for anything, like get any screws in or anything, because you can't. So I'm going to screw everything down for now, and if they send us new hinges then great, but if they don't, then I'm certainly not going to ruin the paintwork just to have an opening boot. You can't open it now, so that's good. Right, so that's that. Let's have a look at pack 118. Okay, I'm editing this in at the end of the video. I've already said goodbye and everything. I took the trunk lid off, thinking that maybe I could put some spacers in or something and maybe make this work. But what I've noticed is these hinges, even the hinge won't work. You have to really force it. So what I'm doing, taking this off, okay, just like so. We're taking that plate off with its screw. Then we're taking the hinge out, and then I've got a sanding stick here. Use a file, use anything, just to scrape the paint off. And I'm going to sand away the paint from these corners, just to make it a little bit narrower. Right, so I'm dropping that down in there now, and as you can see, now we can move it a lot easier. So I think the intention is to have some friction there so that the trunk lid stays up on its own. So now we can put that screw in there, and we don't have to have it loose. We can tighten it down, and the hinge will still work just like this one. So now we can put our trunk in position. I'm really conscious here that I'm going to strip these threads if I keep taking the screws in and out, but hey, it's all for your benefit, guys. DeAgostini give me this to build, to sort of show you how I put it together. So if I find a problem, then we need to share it, don't we? A problem shared is a problem halved, as they say. So let's get this lined up on here. There we go. Right, so screw in there. We'll put a screw in there. Is that lined up? I'm not sure that's even going in, or if I've stripped the thread, I'm not sure. It's not going in because the trunk lid isn't pulled up. So I'm just going to nip these screws down. I'm not going to pull them down properly. And we'll see now if we can open this trunk lid. And then if that doesn't work, the next thing I'm going to try is putting a spacer between the hinge and the trunk lid. So we'll turn this over. And now we can grab the trunk lid. We can lift it, and there we go. We can open it. It's just catching on that end. So what we need to try and do is, we'll slacken these screws off. Okay, now I'm not sure if this is going to do any good, but what I'm going to do is pull the trunk lid back as hard as I can and tighten these screws down. And we'll see what it goes like. You can see it's just catching, but at least now we can open the trunk lid. So there we are. So that was the cure. It would be nice if the hinges were slightly longer, as I said earlier, but at least now we can actually open it. Alright, so there we go. Okay, so pack 118, what have we got in here? Pioneering flying cars. The transition is a true flying car. In this case, an aircraft that can be transformed into car mode in less than a minute. In prototype form, it has all the licenses required to fly and land on the 5,000 or more airfields in the United States, as well as those permitting it to drive on public roads. So there we go. Funny looking thing, isn't it? Here's another one, another flying car. It looks like a sort of pod that you fit to the roof. Here's another one in a museum by the look of it. There's a snazzy looking thing. Okay, so here we're on the tail light panel. So we've got the fuel cap and the tail light panel going in. So we're going to be fitting that to the body. 1966 International Champion for Sports Prototypes. Championship for Sports Prototypes. Here's the Ford 7-litre GT Mark II. 10 miles. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And there's the Ferrari 330, which I'm also building from DeAgostini. We're not only defeated at Le Mans, the image shows Richie Ginther and Pedro Rodriguez's car, but also lost the championship to Ford. There's a chaparral. Beautiful. There we go. Sports cars over 2,000. Ford 1. Sports prototypes over 2,000. Ford 1. So there we are. So then, let's have a look at this. What have we got in here? We've got our rear panel. So this one's a nice box again. So we'll get the light on for you. DeAgostini's packaging is wonderful. The problem with that trunk lid, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I may actually drop them a line. They may manufacture some different hinges. I don't know. I don't quite know what's going on there. I certainly don't seem to have any faults on my model. It would appear that everybody's going to get the same problem. I'll have to ask Steve, find out. So we've got various bags of bits and pieces here. We've got some tiny little hinges. That's the little hinge for the fuel cap by the look of it. And then there's the fuel cap mounting by the look of it. And then here we've got the rear panel. Again, it's all lovely. We've got no scratches, no marks or anything. So very, very nice indeed. Right, so we're going to start off by placing the fuel cap hinge onto the fuel cap. So this is the fuel cap, and then the fuel cap hinge. There's our fuel cap. The fuel cap hinge is here. So that's going in there. And then we're going to fix it in place with a PS15 screw. So we're going to need our tiny little screwdriver. PS15 screw is here. This is absolutely tiny, this screw, so let's be careful not to lose them. Come here. There we go. Right. So now this little hinge is going to go in that way. That's the wrong part. It's this part I want. If I need a new blade in my knife, I think it won't even cut a plastic bag open. Right, so it's this part I want. So I've got the screwdriver armed. I'm going to turn this around and we're going to place the hinge there. And then we're going to put the screw into the hole. Lift that hinge round so it's in the right position to slacken that screw off a touch. Bring that hinge around, make sure the top is... Oh, come on. And make sure that top doesn't go down inside the lip. Make sure it stays up. And then we'll tighten that screw down. Okay. Now place the free hinge blade on the back of the fuel filler cap and secure it with another PS15 screw. So we're going to get another one of these out. Oh, come on. Oh, dear, dear, dear. They've both come out there. So put that one over with the spares. Pick this up on the screwdriver. This is testing my old eyes. And then we will... This is going to be easier said than done, I know. Because this hinge does not want to go where you want it to go. How on earth are we going to get that screw in there? Oh, come on. It falls under its own weight when it wants to. And it doesn't fall under its weight when it doesn't want to. I'm not quite sure how on earth we're going to get this in here. Wow. Yeah, it would have been good if they'd given us a hole in the back of the where the fuel filler mounts. Am I anywhere near the hole? Is it going in? No is the answer. Okay, what I'm going to do, turn the camera off, get it fitted, and then I'll come back and tell you how I do it. Okay then guys, they're telling you to do it wrong here. It is far easier to fit the hinge to the cap and then just hold the cap over that and put that screw in there. It is much easier to do it that way. Okay, because then you can hold the hinge in your left hand and just lay it down and put the screw in, rather than trying to hold the hinge up and hold this and everything all together. So it is a lot easier. So then that clips down like that, and then it opens again like so. So that's good. Right, retrieve the body and open the trough. Attach the fuel pipe and close your support 118B, fitting the 2 pins on the support into the body as shown in the picture. Right, that's going to be a problem because we can't open the trunk. Let's get the body. Alright, so I'm hoping we can do this without actually opening the boot lid. So this is going to go that way round. Okay, so this is going to go around the boot lock there. And then we've got 2 pins here which are going to go into 2 holes here. And then we've got 1 screw here. Don't want a bloody plastic bag. With a PS11 screw. This was a PS11 screw, wasn't it? Yeah. So we're going to fix that in place like that. Okay, so that's going to hold the fuel filler. Now, and then here we have got, next, place the tail light panel on the rear of the body. Identify the 8 attachment points to hold on the rear panel. And you've got 4 screws holding in the complete front end. Come on. Secure the panel with 8 DS12 screws on the inside. 8 attachment points just to hold this rear panel. That's a joke. What's going on here? Right, so we're going to put this in place. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 places. I'm not going to tap these threads. Okay, so this is going to drop down the right way up, not upside down, Nige. So that's going to go into position like so. Remember, I don't have the trunk open as they requested. That's a very tight fit in there. They've got us using 8 screws. I don't think we need any. It's just a push fit. There we are. So there we go. So that's gone in like that. I'm just going to check everything's all lining up nicely here. So push that in there at the top. Push that in there. Right, so we can turn this over. Alright, so this is where I could do with someone to hold it up for me while I put the screws in. So I'm going to grab my, this is the right screwdriver, isn't it? Yes. What I'm going to do is put a screw in here. Just go a couple of turns. I'm going to turn this around because I'd rather screw it right-handed than left. Move everything out of the way so I don't scratch the roof. Now I'm off camera. Oh dear. The size of this thing is becoming a real problem for filming. Get off. Okay. Actually, I'm going to turn the camera off and just put these 8 screws, and what I'm going to do is put them in a couple of turns, and then I'll go around and I'll just diagonally go around like a cylinder head and just pull them all evenly in. Okay? Alright, so there we go. There's our tail light panel fitted, as you can see. And it does fit very nicely. So that's all good, and all the colour match is good and everything. So now we are going to, we've done that, we put the 8 screws in. So now we are going to fit the fuel filler, and we're going to put 2 PS14 screws in to hold it in. So here's our PS14 screws. These bags are doing my head in today. Right, so we'll put one over there, that's a spare. So we've got 2 of these. We'll preload the screwdriver. Here's the smaller screwdriver. And again, I'm going to flip the model around because I'd rather screw with my right hand. Hey, missus. Alright, and then this is going to go in that way up. So that's going to fit in there nicely. And then we're going to put 2 screws into here. So we've got one going in there. Which doesn't seem to line up. Yes, it's going in now. We'll get the other one before we get one tightened down. We'll get the 2 screws in. As I'm filming this, guys, it's Scale Model Road at Telford, so if you've been to there, I hope you enjoyed yourself. There we go. Right. So there you can see we've got our fuel filler in place. We can open that. There we go. See how that little scratch on there. So there we are. Right. All looking very, very nice indeed. Our massive rear end of our massive heavy Mustang. I will see you all next month, guys. This is November's build section over with. I will see you in December for the next part. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.